Okay, let's talk about developing then independent film or web shows or things like that in the context of the broader environment in which we can create it.
Mhm.
Because, of course, doing something independently means doing it yourself, like, all yourself. And
Yeah,
that means all yourself.
sure.
And I was talking to Paul Chatto, who is on the Call Me Chatto channel, and he was a
Right.
former, I believe it was CBS executive.
Executive, yeah.
And he's been very interested in, uh, of course, infrastructure in film has a certain meaning, but like I would say infrastructure, but environment that we create for these things. Because, like, for instance, if you do a major movie through a studio, then you can go on Entertainment Tonight. You can send your star Entertainment Tonight for marketing and things like that.
Mhm.
And so, as I've been trying to do these things as well, I've also been aware of, in the different industries, the environment and all of these ancillary things that exist. Because are you going to do it yourself, or are you going to be existing in some kind of network?
Right.
And it seems to me that the independent film or web show sort of thing is a bit sparse on those kinds of ancillary industries. Like, I don't know what, I think he's right. This is Paul Chatto when he says, I don't know what the independent Entertainment Tonight is.
Right. Right. Well,
How do we fix that? Like, what is that situation, and how do we fix that?
well, golly, there's a lot to that, and that's why I said earlier about putting a product out through a major studio mechanism, even if you produce it independently. Um, you know, that's that's a deep question. How do I start? Okay. Ever hear of a film called Paranormal Activity?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How much that film cost to make?
Oh, I don't know.
$14,995. $14,995. Do you think that a studio made that film?
No.
What a studio did is they found that film at a festival, invested another $1 million into it, beefing up the sound, just like the Blair Witch Project, and wound up putting it out under their banner after buying it from the original creators. Now, if I've got $14,995 into my movie, and they say, you know what, we'd like to buy this movie for $10 million. Do you think I'm saying no?
No, you say it's yours.
Where do I sign? Yeah, I mean,
Right.
it's
yours.
And this is true. Great product rises to the top. A good friend of mine, Mark Ilsley, directed a film called Paris, Texas. I'm sorry, Happy, Texas. My bad. And he sent it out to agencies to cast. And he went for sort of the mid-level actors, but it was a really great script. And what his sales agent said, he said, go put it at these agencies. Tell them it's already funded. All right, don't tell them it's not good because they won't take it seriously. But if you tell them you got the money, it'll get into the agency. And next thing you know, he's got, what's his name? Well, Ali Walker was in his movie. Who's the actor in Shameless? I can see his face. I can't call his name. Bill. Anyway, famous actors got into his movie because they turned the script in, and the agencies said, "Wow, this is a great script," and kind of moved up the ranks until the actors were reading the scripts, going, "You got to get me in this movie." All right, that's the same thing that happens with Paranormal Activity, with El Mariachi, the first film done by I can't call his name. All these great movies, great product, go to the top of the food chain. All right, I'm not saying it can't happen, but at the end of it, and look, just the fact. I mean, Fandango. I was discovered in a 7-Eleven, and they used that story to leverage, me getting an article in People Magazine and all that kind of stuff because it was out of the ordinary. The same thing with Paranormal Activity. This small independent film shot on home DVD recorder. Same with Deep Blue Sea, was it? One of them was Open Water. It was Open Water.
Open Water. Okay.
Shot on mini DV, and then transferred to film. Just those things are enough of a mechanism to get you involved in Entertainment Tonight and the late shows and all those kind of things. That's how that happens for the independent filmmakers. You got to do something different. You got to make a splash. There's some guys out there, in addition to yourself, that have business blogs and things for the film industry. I think one's called Indie Mogul.
Mm-hmm.
And he's out there doing the same kind of stuff, and he'll say the same thing to you. he'll say the same exact thing. But that's been my experience, is doing small budget films that have some kind of a twist or turn that makes it unique, that's going to get publicity. But you still, I mean, what's wrong with Facebook? What's wrong with TikTok? What's wrong with Instagram and getting product out there? I mean, you know, YouTube, how many active millions of users does YouTube have every day? Why can't you get out there and drive traffic yourself as an independent producer? Because here's the thing. If I make a film for $10 million, I got to make $10 million back.
Mm.
But if I make a film for 50,000, I only got to get 50,000 back. So if you want to be on the big hoity-toity programs, that's your ego talking, right? This is budget city. If you get $50,000 of investors' money and you bring them back 50,000 plus a little percentage, you'll make films for the rest of your life, because that's what and then every time you just go a little higher. You know, next film may be 100, next film may be 500,000. You keep setting it up so that you have a path to success, and investors will beat the door down to get to you. That's my experience.
Can I push back a little bit?
Please.
And give you an alternate side of that? Okay. So when you say, did you say hold on?
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So when you say, can you go onto YouTube and drive traffic yourself? Okay. It seems like a general idea that you could. Are you familiar with Film Threat?
Yes.
Okay. So it seems when we talked about being an independent producer, and that means that you have to do everything yourself.
Yeah.
You know, it's extremely time consuming and capital intensive, but also time consuming to say, I'm going to bring out this 10 episode web series, or I'm going to bring out this independent movie. And you spend a lot of time doing that to the best of your ability.
Right.
But then when you also look at something like YouTube, and I've got videos on this where people are talking about what's recommended on YouTube. And if they're talking about, well, in order to drive YouTube traffic, in order to attract a following, you need to be producing 2 to 3 YouTube videos a day, but not more than 6, because then the algorithm punishes you. Well, if you're trying to do a show, you can't do 3 YouTube videos a day.
Right.
So that's not happening. So even if you do the best 10 episodes you possibly can, if the algorithm wants 3 videos a day, you're not going anywhere. So, you know, one possible answer to that is, okay, well, then that means that not only do you need to produce your 5 major shows, but you also need to produce all of the, what I was calling the Entertainment Tonight kind of material, all of your marketing, which might be hundreds of videos.
Sure.
So if somebody just says, well, just go to YouTube and get your own traffic, I would say that's the problem that's confronting an independent producer.
Right. But you might want to also consider the value add. What's the value add? Well, let's say you've got your cultists, right? And so you got episodes of your cultists. I think what would help you is to do as many behind the scenes of the cultists and cast side interviews and put those on the channel. Because if people aren't interested in the cultists, maybe they're interested in the behind the scenes making of a YouTube show. You know, so now you've doubled your opportunity to capture a market, and on down. There's a channel, and you and I have talked about this channel. It's called Dust on YouTube. Dust is an aggregator of sci-fi oriented short films, and they have, I think, last time I checked, about 6.5 million subscribers, and hundreds of shorts. And I subscribe to them just to learn what they do well. And I get a notice about 1 short film every week. They're putting out 1 a week. But they're doing things like, you know, when I put my website up, my web host, I got $500 in Google Ads vouchers. You know how much play you can get from $500 of Google Ads vouchers? When I want to sell a product on my Cajun Cooking Network channel, first thing I put up a lot of crawfish. But once that gets their attention, then you know, I'm spending $100 a week on Facebook, and I'm getting 5 figures of people going through my site. Now, of course, you understand the metric. You can drive traffic there. If you don't have anything to keep them there, then that's the other side of the business, and I'll leave that to you who know much more than I do. But getting traffic there can be done. It just takes consistency and playing to an audience. Finding your audience, that's difficult, but once you got them, man, you can play to them. You can play to them real easy.